Hey, welcome back to my neck of the woods. My name's Dika, where I share my experience and my knowledge, hoping to lessen your learning curve. So today I have another product review on a broadhead. It's a rather local company to me. I'm from Massachusetts. This company is from New Hampshire, and it's called Autolock broadheads. They're notorious and famous for their mechanical broadheads that have a spring in the front, and it's pressure loaded, no springs, no O-rings, no things that have to hold it, no bands or anything like that. And by pressure, it opens up and then it locks it into place. But they have recently come out with a fixed blade broadhead, and I love fixed blade broadheads, so I figured I'd try it. I have a friend who's on pro staff for the Autolock broadheads, and he raves about them, so why not give it a try? So it's beginning of season here in Massachusetts. I've shot 2 deer with the Autolock broadheads. Here they are right here. And they're nasty looking. Excuse me. They're nasty looking. They got a big sort of traditional type of cut here, and then they got some pretty nasty bleeders on the side. At first glance, by looking at them, I would think that those bleeders would slow down penetration, but that didn't seem to be the case. Both deer that I shot with this, they died, and I was able to harvest them. The first one ran about 100 yards, and the shot must have got deflected inside because I hit it right. It was a broadside shot at about 20 yards, and it went in, and then it must have deflected because it came out in the back near the belly, and then buried itself in the femur, the back femur, and broke that bone. So that in itself is impressive. You know, after going through the animal and then landing inside of a bone, breaking the bone clear in half. So it broke the femur, the back femur, after going through the animal. I shoot by the way, these are for bow and crossbow. I have shot bow in the past. This is my first year using a crossbow. I have the Raven 18 and the R18, and it shoots a 400 grain bolt at about 400 feet per second. Give you an idea of what I'm shooting. So it's not very heavy, but it's heavy enough to obviously break bone. All right, so let's go over the broadhead here. So it has these 2 main blades here, and then when they come in the package, they come kind of sticking up in here. There's 3 of them, 3 to a package, and they come sticking up there, and they come like this, and then in the back of the package kind of opens up like this, and then you have directions on the inside explaining how to install the bleeder blades. They call them X-cut blades. This is what they look like here. And what they do is they just seat inside here, like so. There's a little slit there. They sit inside. It's real easy to install. They sit inside like that, and then the insert for the arrow or bolt or whatever is going to hold it in place. So out of box sharpness, you can barely touch them. Barely touch them. In fact, I recommend not touching them because you're going to cut yourself. All right. But so if you're looking for a broadhead that does its job and is super sharp, this is the broadhead for you. It's a good broadhead. It's solid. At first, I thought these are a little flimsy, but going through bone, they didn't break. I think this chisel tip did most of the damage. And so I'm going to tell you some things about it as part of its advertising that I'm not necessarily thrilled with, but it's just weird in my opinion. So the chisel tip here, right? It's very loosely attached, and it just screws off like that. I found that weird, so I contacted the owner of Autolock broadheads, and I asked him why is it threaded? Why would you need to screw this off? Because you can't replace these blades. That's another thing about these broadheads that's a negative. You can't replace them. So it's kind of like a one and done. You can buy the X-cut for $10 for 3 of them. You can buy those on the website, but you can't, well, you can, I suppose I could open these up again, but you can't buy replacement blades for these big blades here. And I have more to say about that. So this unscrews and it's threaded. So he says, well, that's so you can put the spring on it here if you want to replace the blades. And I said, well, I bought the fixed one. I bought the fixed one. And he goes, oh, this is just to protect, oopsie, it's just to protect the tops of the blades here. And so this chisel tip will, if it has to hit bone, it's going to break bone before the blades hit there. Now that's exactly what it did for me. This broke the bone, and it went through the bone. So it did that. But it seems to me that all they did is just take the base of their auto lock and then build fixed blades onto it and then attach the fixed blades. I mean, I'm not saying that didn't do what it's doing, but the advertising is just a little off, you know. So when I shot this, when I buy broadheads, I dedicate one to testing accuracy and whatnot. And this is the one that I shot into a broadhead target probably about 10 times, just making sure it flies good, getting a feel for it. And in the second, in the last shot, well, one of the last shots, this just came off. The top of this, I couldn't find it. So I actually had to take one off another one and put it on this one so I could finish tuning it or shooting or whatnot. I put a little Loctite on it, and it seemed to work. Plumber's tape. I used plumber's tape, excuse me, not Loctite. Plumber's tape. And so this fell off just shooting a broadhead target. And I can't, because these aren't replaceable, I can't get the edge back on this at all. I suppose I could replace these. Like when you buy them, these are razor sharp. In fact, like I said, I wouldn't even recommend touching them. They're very sharp. They cut paper, they cut through anything. And one of the deer, I mean, this just went through like butter. Deer didn't even know it. Ran 20 yards and fell over. And then the other deer ran 100 yards, but I mean, great blood trails. I mean, obviously I hit it in the right spot. You're gonna get those good blood trails. But this one has gone through a broadhead target, and I have tried to sharpen this. I even took it to a Dremel, just trying to get that edge back on there. And you can get it back on. You can get it sharp, don't get me wrong. But razor sharp, I can't get it back there. So as far, this is just a practice broadhead, well, a practice broadhead without a tip. And but you can replace the bleeder blades here, the X-cut blades, for $10 for 3 on the website. So I want to get into a couple other things. That the advertising for this broadhead is misleading. So it says on the front here, excuse me, it says on the front, up to 2.5 inches of cutting surface. Up to. Not 2.5, not 3, not 1. So I'm guessing how they got that number is they measured across here, which is roughly 1.5. It's a little shy of 1.5, as you can see. A little shy of 1.5. I think they measured that as 1.5, and then they measured this at 1 inch, which is roughly, it is. It's 1 inch. See? So that would mean 2.5 inches of cutting diameter, right? But that middle piece, that's not cutting diameter. And this middle piece here, that's not cutting surface, because cutting diameter is different. Now I would say cutting diameter is when you put this through and then you measure in a kind of in a circle or oval. This would be more of an oval because these don't extend as long. Now sometimes to get the good cutting diameter, you would poke this through paper, take like a compass, draw a circle around it, and then measure that outside diameter. There's a lot of ones like that, like Ramcat. Ramcat says they're 1.5 cutting diameter, but they're only 1.25 across. You know, so that's a little misleading, but as long as I use the right words. So they're claiming that this is 2.5 inches of cutting surface, which it's not. It's actually way more. So this is 1.5 right here. I can measure it for you. 1.5 there. And even if I hold it like this, you're going to see 1.5. So you got 1.5 and you got 1.5. That's 3, right? And then these ones are a little more than 1/4. You can see. It's a little more than a quarter. So it comes out to about 3/4 for both of those cutting surfaces, which would be 3 3/4 for cutting surface, not 2.5. I don't know where they got the number from. So I did ask him. I asked him where he got the number from, and then he says he measures from tip to tip. Well, that's not accurate, right? So there's another thing on his website. It's obvious that they are they love mechanicals, and that's fine, and that's what they like. And they market this like a mechanical, but it's not. It's a fixed blade broadhead. So they say it has a cutting surface like a mechanical. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't have a cutting surface like a mechanical. And they said it at 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches. It has a cutting surface like a mechanical. It's 2.5 inches. Well, it doesn't. It looks like a fixed blade. There's nothing moving on this part. A cutting surface like a mechanical is blades that move, right? I mean, maybe I'm looking too far into this, but the advertising is just poor on my part. But the broadhead works, and the broadhead kills deer, and the broadhead does what a broadhead is supposed to do. But the advertising is just silly on my part. Anyway, that's all I really have for you. I bought another pack of these because I want to do some testing on them. I'm going to be doing some broadhead testing. And I have another one that isn't in that pack. I might shoot it again. I mean, it worked as far as a broadhead. It did what it was supposed to do, and that was knock down deer and harvest animals. I don't hold a lot of confidence in it because it just kind of falls apart. You know, I mean, you have to glue it, you know, and I can't resharpen it for the life of me. I mean, this is just going through a broadhead target. You know, look at, I can just, a lot of pressure, that's just going through a broadhead target 10 times. So, and that's me sharpening it too. I've tried to sharpen it, but I can't. But that's all I really have for you. I kind of have mixed thoughts about it. So you have to make up your own mind whether you're going to buy it or not. I like it, but I don't like it. All right? Be well. Sub the channel. I'll talk to you guys later.